So it's my great privilege to introduce Dr. Dhananjay Sutar sir, Deputy Librarian, Barrister Balasaheb Khardekar, Knowledge Resource Center, Shivaji University, Kolhapur. Welcome, sir. Dr. Sutar
Thank
sir
you.
has completed post-graduation in library science and also PhD in the same subject. He has 19 years of experience as a senior college librarian and also having 12 years experience as a contributory teacher in DLISC Shivaji University, Kolhapur. Sir has written 34 research papers in highly reputed journals and conference proceedings and many more. He is author of 6 books of library science. His books on NetSet examination in library science are very famous. He has completed 2 minor research projects. Sir has delivered more than 39 lectures on various topics related with the library science. He worked as a editor, associate editor of various books and conference proceedings. He is a recipient of ILA CD Sharma Award for Best Paper Written and Presented. His areas of specialization are plagiarism, knowledge organization, and management, marketing of library services and products. With these words, I would like to welcome Dr. Dhananjay Sutar sir on this FDP and request to address the gatherings. Thank you so much. Over to Sutar sir.
Thank you, Gaikwad sir, for my introduction to all the participants in this FDP. I want to know how much time is there assigned for me to make the presentation. So up to what time I have to deliver a lecture?
Actually, 30 minutes moved on, so you can take a 1 hour.
How much?
Sir, I request you, please conclude up to the 3:15.
Yes.
Okay, no problem.
40 to
45
minutes.
minutes.
Yes.
So, okay, then I have to decide what I have to cover in detail and what I have to skip. That's why I asked this. Okay, as you are aware that as this is a FDP which is related with the research, so everyone who has joined this FDP program, almost all of them might have gone through the process of how to conduct the research, how to cite the references, and all other things are there. But after completing the research, whether that research is going to be accepted by the institution or whenever a particular research article is going to be prepared by you, whether that research article is going to be accepted by the publishing agency, that depends largely on what is the similarity index of plagiarism. That is checked through the plagiarism software. And as recently UGC has provided guidelines in the regulation that is meant for the plagiarism in the year 2018, all of you know that it is mandatory for you all to go through the process of plagiarism checking whenever you are going to submit your scholarly work either to the journal in the form of a research article or either in the form of submitting your MPhil or PhD thesis in the higher educational institution. So with this, I will start the presentation related with plagiarism. So the presentation is there, which may take more than 1 hour, but I will try my level best to consider only the important aspects related with that in shortest possible time. So the theme that has been assigned to me is the introduction and presentation of plagiarism in research. So this is the outline of the presentation in which I am going to cover what actually the plagiarism is, why there is a need, what are the various types of plagiarism, then what do's and don'ts which are related with the plagiarism, then what are the best practices. And as far as the overview of this UGC regulation is concerned, I am going to consider only 3 aspects, that what are the objectives of this UGC regulation, and the clause number 8, which is related with what are the levels of plagiarism, and the clause number 12, which is related with the penalties, which are based on at what level your research work is considered in the plagiarism or the similarity index. And that is followed by some of the information related with if repeated plagiarism happens, and if the plagiarism is detected after the award of the degree, then what decision will be taken. So only important aspects I am going to cover. Basically, we were using the software of Authenticate, and I have worked on that. So whatever the work that was done by me, some screenshots I am going to provide you for the online demonstration, and that will be followed by the conclusion. So you know that whenever you are going to carry out the research, your research must be a ethical practice. that research how to provide the outcome in the form of your original work. And that's why anti-plagiarism softwares are used as preventive measure, which shows the similarity in the percentages. Now, how much percentage you have copied and pasted as it is from other sources? And even if it has not been copied and pasted, how does it show the similarity with earlier text that is available, that is shown with the software? And that is not only shown in the form of the percentage, but directly to that original source is also given by the software. So you can go to that particular article where from that similarity of your text is matched with the similarity in the text that is contained in the original source. And that's why the practical implementation of this plagiarism checking that requires the support by the well-proven plagiarism detection software. Basically, there are so many plagiarism softwares which are available online free of cost. But the plagiarism that is detected by those softwares is not shown in a strongest way, so that you can decide about what percentage of similarity has been shown. And that's why it is recommended that you must check your plagiarism through the recommended and highly used softwares like Authenticate, Turnitin, or Original. Previously it was called as Urkum software. So that will show you the presentation or similarity in a way so that any comparison with the provision those have been made in the law or the filtration mechanism that is provided in the software that will allow you to exclude the references or codes, etc. And actual score for similarity will be shown. So many of the definitions are there. So I will make this PPT available to you. So instead of reading all these definitions as you are going to get it, I will simply say what actually the plagiarism is. That has been shown that when you are stealing the work of someone else's work and using it in your research without referencing that particular person's work, then it will be called as a plagiarism. So one more definition that we will consider, that is the second one, which has been given by Oxford English Dictionary, that plagiarism is the wrongful appropriation or purloining and publication as one's own of the ideas or the expression of the ideas, etc. Now that ideas or expression of ideas may be a literary work, it may be artistic work, it may be musical or mechanical work, etc. But when the idea or the expression of the idea you are taking as it is in your publication without citing that particular reference, it is called to be the plagiarism. So here we are going to consider or making use of another's intellectual content into your writing or work without proper citation. And when it is given without proper citation, you are pretending it to be your own contribution. So this is called to be the plagiarism. Now there is a need to avoid the plagiarism because as far as research ethics are concerned, you have to avoid the plagiarism. Then with the help of this plagiarism, one can detect what material of other author has been used by the researcher. So that may be a language style that may relate with the concepts, ideas, thoughts, expressions, and views, etc. So without proper citation, if you are going to use all these, then it will come under the purview of the plagiarism. And to find unwanted way of online copying and pasting of the words available on various websites and blogs to bring about qualitative change in research, plagiarism is necessary to be carried out. Plagiarism checking is essential for that. Now see, there are various types of the plagiarism. So these are the types wherein you can also decide about how the plagiarism occurs. See, many of the material are available in a non-print format, that is electronic format. So that is available to you with the help of the search engines, not only Google, but also other browsers are there. From each of the browsers, you can get the information on the topic under your study. Accordingly, you are having access to various e-journals, e-resources, e-databases. So that is more prone to copy and paste plagiarism. So whenever a particular theme or lines or a paragraph you are going to copy as it is and paste it into your research work without citing properly, it is called the copy and paste plagiarism. So it occurs when someone makes an exact copy of another's published work without citing it in any way. So if you are going to cite it, then it will not come under the purview of the plagiarism, because there is a provision in the software that you can exclude the quotes which have been properly cited. Another type of plagiarism is word switch plagiarism. So when someone copies another's published work with some words changed to avoid suspicion, it is called the word switch plagiarism. Basically, the idea or the theme that has been developed by another person has been taken by you, and only word switch has been made by you. Or sometimes you are going to make use of synonyms. Sometimes you are going to make the changes. Active sentence is going to be made passive, or passive sentence you are going to convert into active. So it is word switch plagiarism. Then disuse plagiarism is another type which occurs when the contents of another's work are retained and only slight modifications are done by changing keywords and phrases to alter the appearance. So it is part of the disuse plagiarism. Then comes paraphrasing. So this is common form of committing the plagiarism whenever you are going to conduct your research. That when some words are changed in another's work, but not enough, and then those are copied, then it is known as paraphrasing plagiarism. Only certain words have been changed, and if they are not changed to a considerable extent, then the paraphrase plagiarism occurs. Basically, it is expected by a researcher that whenever you are going to develop your theme, whenever you are going to engage in the research, you must read so many material that is available on your subject under study. You have to make understanding of your own. Then you have to apply your own knowledge, and then you have to write it in your own words with your ideas supporting that theory. So that is called the research. So paraphrase plagiarism you have to take into consideration. Then comes translation plagiarism. Translation plagiarism means when the material which is available in one language, you are going to convert it into the another language, and you are using it in your research, then translation plagiarism occurs. Basically, in the Google, there is one facility that has been given that is called the Google Translation. So whenever you are going to take few of the lines or a paragraph or a page into English language, if you are going to convert it into the Marathi language, and if you are going to publish your paper in Marathi language, actually it is translation plagiarism. So you have to avoid that. Then comes style plagiarism, that when someone copies another's writing style without proper citation, it results in style plagiarism. Metaphor plagiarism is also there. It occurs when someone copies metaphor in another's published work without giving credit to that author. Then idea plagiarism is a type of plagiarism that whenever we are going to communicate in a group discussion, the idea may be raised by someone else, and by listening to that, if you are going to convert it and present it to the society as your own idea, then it is called the idea plagiarism. Basically, this plagiarism is very difficult to detect. Then comes authorship plagiarism, where the name in the change of the author has taken place and all the article is as it is. So many times such type of plagiarism is deliberately conducted by the authors who are not in a position to write in a proper way. And self-plagiarism is also there, that whatever the research articles or material that has been previously published, if you are going to publish it again and again in so many papers, it is called the self-plagiarism. So these are various types of the plagiarisms you have to take into consideration. So for preventing this plagiarism, generally 3 types of measures are considered. First one is that you have to create awareness about plagiarism among the academic community. Another one is you have to also make them aware about how the plagiarism is detected. So it is expected from the users community that they must be familiar with how the plagiarism process is carried out and how ultimately provides the report with similarity links. So if you understand that, it will automatically help you to prevent the plagiarism. And sanctions for academic plagiarism is also there, that many of the institutions, they are developing their plagiarism policy, and if that is going to make them mandatory, it will certainly help to prevent the plagiarism. So this is all possible. In last line, I have given some of the softwares. Turnitin, Authenticate are there, but these are the subscribed softwares for which you have to pay. But all other are these freely available softwares. These are cross-checks, Copyscape, Plagiarism Detector, Copy Checker, Copycat Gold, JFlag, DokuLock, before us, etc. So many plagiarism softwares you will find there. Then coming to what you have to do to avoid plagiarism. So whenever you are going to write any research paper, or if you are engaged in preparation of the thesis or dissertation for MPhil or PhD, then write it in your own words and ideas. Second thing is that you have to cite the appropriate sources to give credit for copied, adopted, or paraphrased work. Then third thing is that you must be aware of common language. Basically, when you are going to make use of the common language, it itself suggests that the language is common. So when common language is going to be used, then similarity index will increase. See, many of the times these words are there. It is because of in ICT driven environment, in modern world of technology. So these are the words many of the researchers they are using in their thesis. So that is called the common language. So you have to avoid that. Then another thing is that you have to read the material. After reading the material, you have to think on that particular material with whatever the content it has, and you have to put it in your own words with the advanced thought on the theme content in that particular material. So it will help you to avoid the plagiarism. Don't take the sentences or ideas as it is and put it in your work. So it will be considered as a plagiarism. Then you have to also credit the author what you read and do not take credit for it. It means that you have to cite that appropriate source. And as at the beginning of the first sentence in which you quote, paraphrase or summarize, make it clear that what comes next is someone else's idea. So whenever you are going to make the references, you are writing in the words of so and so. So author is there, into bracket here is there, and then whatever the idea that you have read, you are going to put it in your own words. Basically, while carrying out the research, when you are concentrating on the chapter of review of literature, then in that case, this plagiarism is going to occur. And that's why whatever the source you are going to review, you have to review it and you have to make the literature of review in your own words. Otherwise, this is the chapter wherein the similarity index is more when the plagiarism is checked. Then these three things are there, that not getting sanction from publisher of the original work for extensive quotations is not expected. So don't do that. It means that you have to get the sanction from the publisher. You have to also take the permission from the publisher of the previous article authored by you to avoid self-plagiarism. It means if you have published your research article and if some part of that research article is going to be used by you in your own article, then you have to take the permission from the publisher. And you have to also obtain the permission for use of published drawings and other illustrations. Many times the researchers, what they are doing is that they are going to the Google, then opening the image. Okay, so whatever the images those have been displayed, so whatever image you feel suitable, you are going to copy it and paste in your research. You are going to give the reference for that. That this is the site from where you have, but there are many of the images in the Google which are copyrighted. For that, you have to obtain the permission. So these are the don'ts. So these are the best practices to ensure originality, that you have to quote, you have to summarize and paraphrase and make it clear that the text is the idea of someone else. This refers to citing another's work. Then use and put your ideas after reading something into your own words. This is another thing. So whenever you are going to write the research article or engage in or writing for dissertations or thesis, keep aside all the reading material. Only try to write it in your own words on your imagination and thinking. So that will reduce the plagiarism. Consider the common knowledge. So that common knowledge, you do not have to write it in your own words in your thesis, and think differently to put it in uncommon way. So this uncommon way, if you are going to adopt, then plagiarism will be less. Then do not use work of others with certain changes, and do not forget to give credit for copied, adapted, and paraphrased material by way of citing it properly and using quotes. So these are the best practices which will ensure originality of your research work, and the similarity will be less in your work. Now, some of the issues those are related with the anti-plagiarism software are that whenever you are going to check your research work through the plagiarism software, the plagiarism cannot be brought to zero without filtration. So it cannot be brought to zero because I have said that whatever the common sentences and words are there, those are shown as similar in the text earlier published. So you cannot do that. Basically, in the pure sciences, whenever there are the methods and strategies or the equations are there, you cannot change the equations or the methods related with that particular chemical process like that. So plagiarism cannot be brought to zero. And if it is brought to the zero, it means that some sort of mistakes have deliberately been done by the researcher in that particular article before submitting it for the plagiarism. So that can also be identified. So plagiarism software is a means to detect the plagiarism and not a remedy. So this software will provide you the extent to which you have plagiarized the material. It itself is not a remedy to reduce that. It will provide you the clues about what material has been copied. It has been shown in color codes. So by reading that, you have to change that matter. So that much facility this plagiarism can provide, that it brings out to your notice that what material, what part, what paragraph, how many words are plagiarized. So in an act as a threat against plagiarism for researchers and can act as prevention is better than cure. See, when the researchers are aware that their research work is going to be checked through the plagiarism, they take care not to plagiarize from the beginning to the end. So instead of correcting the research work which is plagiarized, it is almost better not to plagiarize. And as far as the application is concerned, there is a resistance to change on the part of the researchers which are engaged in the internet PhD courses. But now they have to bring about change in their mindset that they have to write original. So if the volume of the database with which the work is compared may not be strong, then it shows low percentage of similarity, which may not be actual. Actually, it is related with the use of the plagiarism software. See what or which type of plagiarism software you are going to use that has a great impact on the similarity index. See, if you are going to make use of Authenticate and Turnitin, their database is very strong at the back end. In that database, all the resources, e-resources available on the net, all the resources which are related with the e-resources, e-database, they have attached. So when that database is strong, and when a particular document is submitted for plagiarism checking, then the percentage is more because it is compared with all databases. Those are available on the internet or e-resources or e-databases or e-journals. And that's why when you are going to make use of recently developed softwares or free softwares, the percentage of similarity will be less, which may not be actual. So in that case, if that is going to be checked again through the Authenticate or Turnitin, then that percentage will be much higher. So that you have to take into consideration. So again, how to avoid plagiarism? It has already been discussed that you have to find out the reasons behind plagiarism that you know now, and that reasons you have to avoid. So you have to also identify different forms of plagiarism or different types of plagiarism, and you have to consider them while writing the research paper. You have to also effectively implement plagiarism prevention techniques, and you have to rely more on applied research. It is because when you are relied on theoretical research, that is more prone to highest similarity when checked through the plagiarism. But when it is applied research, you are going to the field, you are collecting the data of your own, and that data is going to be analyzed by you, on the basis of which findings and suggestions are made, or inferences are drawn, or conclusion has been suggested. So that theory is not existing anywhere else. And that's why your applied research will show lowest similarity through plagiarism checking. So I will tell you that recently this act has been passed out, that is called the UGC Promotion of Academic Integrity and Prevention of Plagiarism in Higher Educational Institutions Regulation 2018. So if you go to the Google or UGC website and you will type this UGC Regulation 2018, that regulation is displayed and you can download it into the PDF format. So 6-7 pages are there. It has also been published in the Gazette of India. on 31st July 2018 and is made available by the UGC website also. So this act consists of 13 clauses. See, first is related with short title application and commencement, in which all the titles related with what is academic integrity, what is prevention, what is higher education, what is plagiarism, all those have been given. Now definitions have been given, that is followed by the objectives of this regulation. Then what are the duties of the higher educational institution as far as this promotion of academic integrity and prevention of plagiarism is concerned, that has been given. Then there are provisions related with awareness programs and trainings. Then there are some ways to curb the plagiarism. Then similarity checks for exclusion from plagiarism, those have been given. It means that whenever the plagiarism report is generated, which things can be excluded, those have been given in the act. Basically, the quotes, then the bibliography or the references, those have been excluded, and continuous 14 words can also be excluded from the similarity check, on the basis of which levels of plagiarism have been defined. Then how we have to detect, how we have to report and handle that plagiarism, that has been given. Then there are two panels are established to required to be established. Those are called with the DAIP at departmental level and IAIP at institutional level. We have to form the committees, how the committee is to be formed, what is the constitution of the committee. So committee that has been given in this DAIP and IAIP. Then those are followed by the penalties. If plagiarism is conducted by you, how the penalties are given there, those can be given. Now, objectives, those are there in the act, I will not repeat. So these are the levels. See, level 0 is acceptable level, that if your thesis is below 10%, your thesis is going to be accepted by the university. So level 1 is from 10% to 40%. Level 2 is from 40% to 60%, and level 4 considers similarity above 60%. If your research report is going to come under the level 4 after plagiarism checking, your registration as a PhD or MPhil student will be permanently removed. So don't copy to the extent where the similarity will go above 60%. Now for this level 1 and 2, there are certain penalties, those have been given in the act. Now for thesis and dissertation C, at 10% it is going to be accepted. But at level 1, when the similarity is between 10 to 14%, so under which the student has to revise the manuscript within the duration of 6 months and has to resubmit the revised script. It means that the similarity is between 10 to 40%. Up to 6 months, you cannot resubmit your thesis. During the period of 6 months, you have to revise it. You have to remove that similarity to a greater extent so that it will come below 10%, and then it will be accepted. So if that similarity is between 40 to 60%, then under this case, the student has to revise the script within the duration of 1 year. But he shall be debarred from submitting a revised script for a period of 1 year. It means that he have to submit that thesis after a year, and which shall have similarity below 10% after checking the revised script. It means that if your first attempt shows 40 to 60 similarity, throughout the year you have to work on that, and after resubmission, when that will come below 10%, only then it will be accepted. Otherwise, again, if the similarity is between 40 to 60 years, it means that again 1 year duration it will take. It is not that. See, at level 3, where similarity is found above 60%, student registration for the program shall be cancelled. Now, in case of repeated plagiarism, as I said, that in the 40 to 60%, if after a year you are going to submit it, and again if you are coming under the 40 to 60% similarity, then punishment is higher. C, for repeated plagiarism committed by him, it is liable for punishment for the plagiarism of 1 level higher to previous level committed by the student. 1 level higher means at second step, if you are going to again resubmit your thesis and the similarity will be between 40 to 60%, it means your thesis will become under the level 3, wherein it will be considered as 60% plagiarism. So here your registration is also going to be cancelled. So that is a very essential thing or provision that you have to take into consideration. It means that if you are at the stage of 40 to 60% similarity, you have to go below 10%. If you will go to this one, again you will come to next level. That again it will take 1 year for revising your script. Now for academic and research publications in the form of research papers, which is applicable for the lecturers also, that 10% is the acceptable level. If it is in the ratio of 10% to 40% similarity, you have to withdraw your manuscript, you have to revise it. If it is 40 to 60%, you have to withdraw the manuscripts and he shall be denied a right to 1 annual increment. Your 1 annual increment that is given to you will be denied if you are going to commit plagiarism in the range of 40 to 60%, and he shall not allowed to be a supervisor to any master's degree, MPhil degree, PhD student or scholar for a period of 2 years. So your guideship will be terminated for 2 years. And if your similarity for the research article will go beyond 60%, then the penalty which is given at level 2, this will remain as it is, that your guideship will be terminated for 2 years. But supervisor's period not allowed is extended by 1 more year. So 3 years in total. So for these 3 years, you will not be in a position to guide your student either for master's degree, MPhil degree or PhD degree. So that is there. So in case of repeated plagiarism, we have considered all these things. So 3 level offenses are there, that the suspension or termination as per service rules shall be taken by the higher education institution if the researcher is going to commit the plagiarism in a repeated way. And if the plagiarism is proved on the date after the award of the degree or credit, it means that if a particular research guide has guided his student, if the student has submitted the thesis and he has been awarded PhD, but later on it is observed that whatever the thesis that was submitted was having similarity index and a higher level of plagiarism, then his or her degree or credit shall be put in abeyance for a period recommended by the IAIP, Institutional Academic Integrity Panel, and that will be approved by the head of the institution. So that IAIP will take the decision related with that. So some screenshots have been given here that in the Authenticate, this is the software homepage wherein at this login, I can log in. So I was having the credentials related with that. So I have given my email and password has been given. Then I click on the login. It lead me to this window wherein, see, there is one window, upload a file. So I will click on this upload a file. So that will lead to this window. Now here I will write the name of the first author, then last name of the author, then what is the title of the document. If it is a PhD thesis, title of the PhD thesis. If it is a MPhil dissertation, title of MPhil dissertation. And if it is a research article, then name of the research article. Then if I will click on this, it will help you to browse that particular file where you have stored that. So I will choose that particular file, and after choosing that particular file, when I upload it, then that file is uploaded to the system of Authenticate for the plagiarism checking. And these are some of the file requirements, that the file must be less than 10 per 100 MB, not more than 400 pages. Then it should not exceed 2 MB of the raw text, and zip file may contain up to 200 MB or 1000 files. Otherwise, it is not going to be accepted by the software. So whatever the material you are going to submit, that may be in the Word format, text, PostScript, PDF, HTML, Excel, PowerPoint, whatever that may be. So whatever the forms have been given in that particular form, it has to be there. So when the report is submitted, then see, this is the similarity index which has been shown in the report, that this thesis is having 29% similarity, this is having 23% similarity. So this should be less than 10%. Basically, when it was submitted, the acceptable level was 30%. So these have been accepted by our institution. But as per this new law, this has to be less than 10% now. So when it is 29%, he will come at this level 2. Within 6 months, he has to revise it and submit it. See, this is all related with the similarity index. So the time that was allotted to me was up to 3:15. Now 3:10 is there. So the session will be open for 5 minutes. and that will be followed by my another my another comment to you that if you go to YouTube and will type my name along with the concept of plagiarism, Introduction to Plagiarism by D.B. Sutar, 2-3 videos will be there. Now, one video is related with whatever the presentation I have made today with shared with you. Another one is related with the detailed provisions made in the Plagiarism Act. And third one is related with whatever the screenshots those have been shown to you. So you will find it in a nice way on that YouTube video, that how the file is submitted, how the similarity index is there. Now that similarity index, that report is open, how it is shown in front of you, what is the color combination code, how you have to interpret. So that all you can come to know about that. So it is because of the time limit that I have presented it to some extent in a speedy way, but I'm quite sure you might have understood all these concepts. So as to conclude, I will say that this ICT has provided immense opportunities for the content scrapping, resulting into the literal threat of fraud or sometimes committing ethical offense. So whenever you are going to make use of the Google e-resources, e-databases, and taking the material, take care. And for effective prevention of the plagiarism, this course is also one of the preventive measures that they are going to create awareness among you as far as plagiarism is concerned. Then developing innovative computer-assisted plagiarism detection technique is also essential to be considered. And implementing sanctions for the academic plagiarism with strict, unbiased enforcement of the rules by a competent authority is certainly the need of the time to avoid the plagiarism. And it is because of this that our university is also accepting the PhD thesis only after checking the plagiarism, and when the plagiarism similarity report is below 10%. Now the session is open for discussion. If you have any queries in your mind, you can have discussion with me. Yes, any questions?
Hello.
Yes, Karuna Shankar sir. You have raised the hand. Yes, please.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I have one question. Someone
Yes.
use a review, publishing articles on various report, and use a reviewer. Okay.
Literature review. You are talking about review, literature of review.
Then the same literature review can be taken in our work also or not? This comes under the plagiarism or not? This express.
No, see, I have explained it earlier to you that whenever you are making a review of literature, so many of the researchers, they might be making use of the same source. Okay. But when you are going to make the review of literature, that review of literature must be in your own words. Simply, you have to read the whole article. And after reading that article, you come to know that how it has helped you to develop your idea, which is related with the theme of your research, isn't it? So that has that you have to put it in your own words. Now, suppose 4 or 5 students are there, and one article has been given to you for literature review. In that case, every student may use his or her own language that may be different from one another. So that will not come under the purview of the plagiarism. But only the thing is that don't try to copy the sentences or paragraph as it is and paste it in your literature review. You have to use your own words, and you have to explain how it is useful to you to carry out your research. Then it will not come under the purview of plagiarism. So that care you have to take.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Any more questions?
Yes, Subhash Bhosle, please unmute yourself, sir.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please.
May I audible to you?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Sir, when we use the references,
yes.
Suppose we can say committee reports.
Okay.
And suppose they have written certain recommendations and certain things about
you have to take as it is, right?
At that time, as we have to take it as it is,
Yes.
And if I given that in the bibliography that I have used this,
It means you have properly cited.
yeah.
Okay, you have properly cited it and given the reference in the reference, either in the reference or in bibliography.
Okay.
Okay,
And
whether that will be
it comes
plagiarized.
under the plagiarism or not?
Yes, it is not.
Okay.
Why? I will tell you. See, honestly, you have taken the recommendations as it is. You have to put it in your research work, but you have properly cited it.
Okay.
So the credit of that particular recommendation or that particular part you have given to the original author.
Okay.
You have honestly quoted it. Okay. Now the quote is given in double inverted comma. Sometimes it may be in italic, isn't it?
Okay.
In the plagiarism, it is considered as plagiarism detection, but there is a provision in the software that there are some filtrations. In that filtration, there are 2 or 3 windows wherein at the first there are given quotes. Okay, so if I will click on that quote, all the quotes will be removed from your plagiarism. Okay, if I will exclude references, all the references and bibliography will be excluded from your text. And there is one more provision that consecutive 14 words you can explain. So there is a bracket that has been given in front of there are words. That word has been written. So in that bracket, how many consecutive words you have to exclude, that is put by the institution. So if I write 1-4, it means that the 14 words which are coming in sequence, which are going to match with other source, that will be excluded. Now there is another one provision that you can exclude methods, materials, and equations. So there is a provision in the software. So in that case, it will not be considered for the similarity count.
Okay. And one more thing I want to ask that if I am doing my thesis, writing my thesis in Marathi.
Okay.
So is there need to plagiarize?
This is a very nice question, sir. See, basically, in a country like India, where there are many languages available, okay, regional languages are almost there in each of the states. Basically, this plagiarism is checked when the thesis is in English language. For languages, plagiarism cannot be checked. Suppose if it is Marathi, if it is in Hindi, the plagiarism cannot be checked. It can be checked only if that dissertation is typed in Unicode font. And the plagiarism software owners, they have to also attach all these resources available in different languages in their databases. So that database they have to increase. In that case, it is possible. In the present situation, it is not possible to detect the plagiarism in the languages other than English.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
Any more questions?
Devlekar.
Yes, Devlekar is there.
Yes, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
I would like to ask question about the definitions which we are quoting.
Yes.
In what can be done in that case?
No, definitions, those have been given. I have quoted in my references.
Yeah.
What were actually question, I do not have understood. The definitions have been given. Okay. You
Okay.
want to see those definitions?
Hello, sir.
Sir, please
Now, these definitions have been given in the dictionary.
Can it become a plagiarism?
No. If you are going to take the definition as it is and you are going to quote it.
Yeah.
I am saying that whatever material you are going to take, you have to quote it properly. So when you have taken the definition as it is, you have to quote it. If you will not quote, then it will become a plagiarism.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
So everything that you are going to take as it is, you have to quote it to avoid the plagiarism, because there is a provision in the software to exclude quotes. Again, there is one provision that your quotes shall not go more than 30% of your original text. Otherwise, you are going to write 100 pages. You are going to take 70 pages as it is. You are going to quote everything. It will not be accepted.
Right.
Okay, that you have to take care of.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Yes. So now
from the participants.
There is no any question.
Just a minute. I want to show one more slide with the participants.
Yes.
Within 1 minute, I will conclude.
Sir, participants are asking about your PPT.
Yes, yes, I
And
will.
much
I
more
will share it to
messages
you
are-
on your mail. You have to send to all of them. So I am very much thankful to Dr. Mohan Rajmani sir, who is the principal of this college and has taken initiative to implement this FTP. I am also thankful to Dr. A.K. Patil sir, who is the course coordinator, and Dr. G.B. Kalyan Shetty sir, who is IQC coordinator. So I am very much thankful to all participants also for their active involvement in my session along with question and answers. And some of the links I have given that I have stated you earlier, that introduction to plagiarism, in introduction to plagiarism through checking through Authenticate, and the regulation related with that. So these links I am going to share with sir. So I will send it to their mail and you can get it from them. So do visit all these 3 videos, and if you like, you can like it. You can make use of it to make the presentation. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Uh,
Mahesh sir, I will send it to you. That,
yes, yes, yes. I will share
on your mail.
on WhatsApp group. So
Okay.
participant will get it.
Sure, sure.
Yes, yes. So now we are going to the sweet session, that vote of thanks. I would like to thanks on the behalf of Sadhguru Garge Maharaj College, Karad and HRDC Pune. I express my heartful thanks to Dr. D.B. Sutar sir for sharing his views on plagiarism, ethical practices in research, basics of plagiarism, its meaning, types, prevention, and much more things. Sir has also mentioned the best practices for ensuring originality, UGC guideline for promotion and prevention of plagiarism. I would like to thank organizing team, teachers, staff members, all the participants. And finally, with the kind of permission of the coordinator, I would like to declare that the fifth day of the FDP is over here. Assignment will be shared on WhatsApp group. So if anything
Sir,
you want to share that, Patil sir.
Sir, here is a short notice to the participant.
Yes.
Dear participant, we have to fill up the HRDC registration form for the certificate.
Yes.
If you are not fulfilled, then the certificate will not be issued by the HRDC.
Yes. Yes.
So please, I have sent it on the WhatsApp group. Please go through the instructions given in the group, given on the group. Thank you very much for all.